Welcome to the Fantasy Aces podcast where you get all your fantasy football needs. We got a big show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about finally our sleepers and who we think are going to be breakout candidates for the 2020 NFL season. And also, if we have enough time, we're going to do a little Q&A, and I'm going to ask Mike and Nate some fantasy relevant questions. We'll see what they got to offer. And then we're going to finish off with analyzing our recent mock draft that we just did. We had a couple mistakes that we did, and there's also some tips and really good strategies that we came up with. No, not you, Mike, not you. There's been a couple tips and mistakes that we made throughout the draft, and we're just gonna analyze it and try to give you any advice that we have that can really help you coming into the 2020 season. I'm your host, as always, Joe Bevilacqua, and with me we have Nate Holleran. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. Flyers big win. I'm happy about that.
I know, I saw that 2-0.
Very big win. Very big
Pretty
win.
good series after that defeat you guys had last game. So that's
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that one.
And with me we have Mike Hendel. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to see the Caps get swept tonight.
Oh, it's gonna be rough.
No, they'll win the Stanley Cup. It's fine.
Oh man.
I don't know about you guys though, but I'm excited. Just watching all these training camp videos of these guys going at it in pads right now. A lot of people are doubting my guy AJ Terrell as cornerback on the Falcons, and they've been posting a couple YouTube videos of him snagging off interceptions off Matt Ryan, and he's been covering like Calvin Ridley, and it kind of just gets me hyped for seeing all these like rookies, coming in and showing what they got, even though what's going around the world right now. But I'm just excited. NBA playoffs, my Raptors are doing good right now. I'm just really excited for all these sports, coming all at one time, and it's going to be really exciting.
Very exciting. All I do is look for any news about Tua Tagovailoa.
Have you seen any recent? Has there been any film yet of him throwing the ball in pads?
I think the latest that I read from today is he's handing off. It's just his handoffs are amazing. He's so good at it. Just the running back.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can see him throwing the ball and getting him into action. We do have a lot of relevant fantasy news actually. Dez Bryant has been offered a workout with the Baltimore Ravens. If this works out, he could be a potential red zone target. And I'm telling you, he could be taking away red zone targets away from Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews if this were ever to happen. But we have to see how it plays out. And I also heard from Bengals coaching and medical staff that AJ Green, first time going at it on 11 on 11, had a hamstring issue, left the field. Listen, we're going up and down on this guy. First he's like, all right, he's good to go. And now he's like, nope, he's not good to go. His hamstring has been bothering him. So we got to see how this is going to play out. I'm assuming his ADP right now is just like a roller coaster because of, what's going on with him. And also Philip Rivers reports to have formed chemistry with wide receiver T.Y. Hilton. He says this is his favorite guy to throw the ball with right now. He's a very viable fantasy option, and we'll see how that plays out. And that is actually going to lead me into our main category today in sleepers. I'm going to start it off, and it's actually for me, T.Y. Hilton is one of my sleepers for the 2020 season. If this guy remains healthy, he is a dark horse. Right now, his average draft position is around 66. So sixth round, as expert consensus ranking is 57, so they're around the same place. Last year, he had an injury-plagued season. He's been under the radar, which is great for you guys as drafters and the viewers because this guy could be a late-round value more and like a bench piece potentially. And I also think the addition of Michael Pittman Jr. plays towards Hilton's strengths. I think having a viable other wide receiver on the other side will give an advantage towards T.Y. Hilton. And the guy is a better quarterback this year. They're playing with one of the best O-lines, and they have one of the stronger running games, if not one of the best running games after what I'm hearing from with the running back duo that they have. And so his yards per reception has never been under 10 yards, even last year when he didn't even play a full season. And throughout his whole career when he wasn't injured, because he's only had one injury, and that was last year, he has had over 100 targets in each of his years. So this guy is going to get the ball, and I really see him as a viable fantasy sleeper that not many people are really paying attention to this year, just because based alone it was his first injury that he had last year, and I really think he can have a promising season with Philip Rivers. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, don't trust anything you hear out of training camp that's like, oh, teammate says other teammate is doing really well. Like, yes, that is what they are going to say about everyone on their team. I would not read into that at all.
All right, that is true. But this did actually come from Philip Rivers' mouth himself. So
yeah, what else is he gonna say? Oh man, I wish T.Y. Hilton was better. That guy is all hype. No, he's gonna say, "Oh, I'm developing chemistry with the best receiver on our team." Yes, that is what he's going to say. That is what he has to say. Do not read into it. I mean, you can believe outside of that comment that T.Y. Hilton is going to be a nice
that's
sleeper.
Something I thought I'd bring up, but based on his stats alone. That's why I'm picking him as a breakout candidate for this season, not because Philip Rivers says he's a good receiver to pass to. I mean, he had Jacoby Brissett, and he was getting the ball before he got injured. So it really doesn't, for me, matter who's at the helm at the quarterback, but it does make a difference that it's Philip Rivers right now over Jacoby Brissett just based off experience and football IQ.
Yeah, you can't say breakout, though. You can say rebound. But he broke out already. He's a name.
He is a name. And, and being in the 6th round, it's something like, don't reach for this guy. But if you have him in the 6th round, I think I'd have him as like a wide receiver 4 over a couple other guys that I see around that place.
Not me.
Nate, not you?
No.
Wow.
Really? You don't like T.Y. Hilton? This guy's getting 100 targets every season. That's just volume. That's volume.
He's like, wait, but he's not exciting.
Oh, he's not exciting.
That's fine. But I mean, name the receivers that Philip Rivers has gone to the most in the past. Name them. Keenan Allen, big.
Mike Williams.
Vincent Jackson, big. Mike Williams, big. These are all big guys. And T.Y. Hilton
is true.
And not. Like, so I'm not. If you can get T.Y. Hilton as like your 4th receiver that you draft, then sure, go for it. But I wouldn't take him as I wouldn't count on starting him every week.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I really do see him as a sleeper, and he's very consistent. And based alone on his share volume, you gotta pick this guy over a lot of other receivers I'm seeing where it's kind of skeptical if they're going to get 100 targets. Unlike with T.Y. Hilton, he's going to get 100 targets no matter what. We're actually going to start now with Nate. What kind of fantasy sleeper do you have for this 2020 season?
Yeah, so I went through like a hand pick, of multiple players. So I decided to go with Raheem Mostert because I like Raheem Mostert, and I know he's behind, Matt Breida, and then he's behind Melvin Gordon, Tevin Coleman, and Jerick McKinnon. Now that he's behind these two, studs, I believe truly that his projected stats are 750 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, and 230 receiving yards. So, in my opinion, if he's like up there, I think he's definitely a sleeper in the draft compared to there's going to be multiple running backs you're going to select, starting off in the 1st round. So if he's up there, he's definitely like a great number 2 running back. So I pick him as my sleeper.
So when you say behind, you don't really mean depth chart wise. You just mean that he has other backs
to
compete with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. No, he's not sitting behind. I mean, playing, he's a 3rd string running back. I know they like to shift them, there in San Francisco. And San Francisco obviously really likes him. They wanted him to stay in, with the 49ers. So, I believe he would be a sleeper for me if I had to choose.
Now, I'm not really sure. Do you know what round he's supposed to be going in right now? His average draft position? He's
projected between the 5th and 6th round.
The 5th and 6th round. Okay. And it's a 5th and 6th round. It's really, a lot of people are saying that the San Francisco offense might not be as, crazy and energetic as it was for this year. So I'm interested to see how Mostert will do. But, I really hope the best for him just based on his yards per rush. I mean, he has 5 yards, it's over 5 yards. And he loves to say that. But,
right.
Having him later in those rounds, I would definitely take him like as a 5th or 6th round, have him possibly as a flex spot, that you can take into the bench when he's not, because he's not very consistent. sometimes he just blows up and has 20 points. Sometimes he really doesn't. So I think it'd be nice to have as like a bench piece or, sometimes putting him on the flex spot. Mike, what do you think about Mostert?
I don't think you can call him a sleeper. I don't. Because if he's ranked as the 25th running back, and so that's probably like people are going to be starting him every week. And if you're projected 700 yards, I don't think that counts. I think if I think you can like him as like a secondary starter, but I don't know. Maybe we have different definitions of the word sleeper.
I mean, that could be true. I mean, you could think of a sleeper as like a between.
He's already awake. He's woke.
Right. Yeah, he's not sleeping. He's much awakened in this fantasy draft. But I mean, I was just looking at his stats. When he's behind, well, not behind, but he was with Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon. They're gonna be sharing the ball. So, I mean, his projected stats could be true. He could be better this year. He could be worse. I mean, I just see him as a sleeper because he does have two solid running backs with him. So, there's competition there in the backfield.
Yeah, that's true. And he does have a chip on his shoulder from, trying to get that contract. But they did, try to arrange something. But I still think he's a little angry towards the 49ers. But I understand Mike's point because I think it's like, week 12 or 13 last season. That's when you could call him like a sleeper because he's like, whoa, this guy's breaking out right now for the 49ers offense. Now that we kind of seen what he's done, people are more like high expectations on him. And now he's not so much of a sleeper, but a guy that we're like, he's going to get it done. It's not really under many people's radars unless you're predicting go reach for this guy in like the 4th round because I see him doing some good things in the 2020 season. So I think that's kind of where we're at for that. Mike, give me your first sleeper of the 2020 season.
All right. Well, I am going almost in your lane here and cutting you off from yours. I'm going Jack Doyle, tight end, Colts. I think Philip Rivers has a history of throwing to the tight end. I think his skills are really probably anticipatory over the middle. They have two great running backs, which means Jack Doyle's going to be in on a lot of the plays. He's signed as the money-making tight end there. Eric Ebron is gone. He's ranked as the 21st tight end. So he in some leagues, in 10-team leagues, he might not get drafted. In 12-team leagues, he might be the last person's second tight end. So I think you'll see. I mean, Philip Rivers isn't going to be bombing it every play to T.Y. Hilton. And if T.Y. Hilton, did I say Jake Doyle?
No, you said Jack.
I thought you said Jack.
Yeah, you definitely said Jack.
Okay, all right, Jack Doyle. But yes, for the things that I mentioned, I think he's going to be a good player for Philip Rivers.
I really hope you're right because Jack Doyle is the tight end on my dynasty team, and I'd really like him to perform. He's my bench tight end, and it's something that I don't have depth in the tight end position on my dynasty team, so I really hope you're right with the predictions on Jack Doyle. And that's a good comparison, with Antonio Gates. He's always had that connection, Philip Rivers, with the tight end, and he's not really going to be throwing it deep because he is getting older, and Jack Doyle, I think, is a really good fit. Eric Ebron is finally gone. There's going to be more target volume towards him. Yeah, I agree with that one. Nate, how do you feel on Jack Doyle?
I mean, I think now that's a sleeper. Now I agree that is a sleeper. Yeah, that definitely is a sleeper. He's not the average guy you're out here like, oh, I'm going to get Jack Doyle. So he can definitely be that sleeper. Everyone's like, where did this guy come from? So I mean, it's a good selection. There's no doubt about that.
Jeez, really talking about a lot of Colts players today. We're actually gonna turn it around right now. Mike, I'm going to let you list your second sleeper for the 2020 season.
All right. So I decided to go with one tight end, one receiver, one running back when we were doing this. And I'm going with N'Keal Harry. Now, I think that's in the range of deep sleeper, like some real REM sleep, dream status. But yeah, I mean, he's a first round pick. He's a big guy. Again, same reason why I said T.Y. Hilton might not be the best, like, big guy, right? Cam Newton has history throwing to big guys. Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, both put up big numbers for Cam Newton, and Cam Newton's there, and they have a big wide receiver, first-round pick. And I just think it's time for N'Keal Harry to put up right now, or he is going to be considered a bust. And what better, what better offense to be in than with a guy who you have to put more guys up front towards the line of scrimmage if you're going to stop Cam Newton, or he'll run over you. So I'm going with N'Keal Harry. I'm happy about it. And we'll see, I think, touchdowns in his future.
You are literally listing my whole bench for my dynasty team right now. I also have N'Keal Harry as a bench player on my dynasty team. Yep. I actually got him through a trade, and he didn't perform last year, of course, and I'm really hoping big things from him. I think, having a different quarterback, we'll see how it works with Cam Newton. We've seen progress with Cam Newton in training camp in the videos. We'll see how it goes with N'Keal Harry. And you're right, this is like a one-and-done kind of thing. So he's got a big chip on his shoulder for this season. Nate, how do you feel on N'Keal Harry?
No, I mean, you can't disagree, because I think I really do believe that the Patriots ranked like almost dead last at wide receivers, how bad they were last year, how Tom Brady had to, find a way to throw those receivers, and N'Keal Harry was one of them. So, I mean, about a chip on your shoulder. Like,
I'm going to point out to you that the Patriots never really get good wide receivers to help them.
They never do. They never do.
System, all right. He knows what he's doing. Right. He doesn't really value the wide receiver position, but maybe things will change with Tom Brady out and Cam Newton in. But no, I agree with you. All right, Nate, give me your second sleeper for the 2020 season.
Yeah, so I'm going to go tight end, and I'm going to go Noah Fant on the Broncos. And, he's projected, between the 7th and 8th round. And last season, his stats, Mike, these are below 700 yards. So I think I can consider him a sleeper. He had 562 yards and only 3 touchdowns. I mean, I would trust Drew Lock as my quarterback, because I don't think a lot of people understand that this kid can be really good this season, coming up. Hopefully we do have a season. I put faith in Noah Fant and their offensive scheme, because, Drew Lock is going to be throwing. He has a lot of weapons around him, between Courtland Sutton and then the two, Jerry Jeudy, and, he's going to be set. So, Noah Fant being on the outside of that tight end position, Drew Lock's going to have fun with him. I think Noah Fant's numbers will go up. So, that'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to watch. I think he's one of those tight ends, if, like I said,
exciting,
if you need one,
tight end. Is he exciting?
He's exciting. He is exciting. In my opinion, I watched some of his clips, and he's pretty exciting. I know you can look at his numbers from last season. You're like, 500, a little bit over 500 yards is kind of, but he's a sleeper, Mike, and he definitely can be something special. I mean, why not?
Yeah. He's a big, physical, fast dude. The only thing that you did say is there are so many other weapons that just got into the Denver offense with KJ Hamler and Jerry Jeudy.
Courtland Sutton.
Yeah, it was just like, how are they going to, the share volume and the targets, like how many targets are going to go towards Noah Fant. So that's something to, kind of analyze. Mike, what do you think about him?
I think you can call him a sleeper. I think that's fine. I'm just saying. I think sleeper probably denotes that it's someone who's going to be riding a bench somewhere at the beginning of the season, and he's probably projected outside of the top 12 starting tight ends. So I give you validation for your selection. He is a Bronco. The exciting factor is there, but he did go to Iowa. So that's a little less exciting.
Just like TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah. So
a lot of good tight ends come out of Iowa, in my opinion.
Yeah, Iowa. There you go. So sure. I mean, he's a Bronco, so no one's perfect. But what are you gonna do?
Oh my god.
All right. I guess we're making my way to my second sleeper. Everyone's been sleeping on Matthew Stafford. All right. This guy is in his rankings, he is a top 12 quarterback, so he's 12th. But I'm saying this guy can be a potentially like top 5 to top 6 quarterback, and I'm going to explain to you why. He was the number 6 quarterback in fantasy before his injury. First 6 weeks he played, he was number 6 quarterback, and then he got injured for the rest of the season, so he only played 6 games. He averaged 8.2 yards an attempt, which was his career high. He was on pace for 5,000 yards and 38 passing touchdowns. That is completely unreal for Matthew Stafford. And then in the games that he played, where he played like pretty well, were against the Chargers, Green Bay, and Minnesota, and the Eagles defense. So these are pretty decent defenses, especially against the Chargers and Green Bay with their secondary. So I potentially see him as a great quarterback to have with Stafford. And I really don't care if this guy can win games for the Lions, because this is not us discussing if the Lions are going to be potential like playoff team. This is fantasy football, and I care about his fantasy football relevance, not if he can win games, because I'm not really sure if he can win games, but I'm sure that he can throw for over 400 yards and for more than 3 touchdowns. And in his 6 games, he only had 2 games where his QBR rating was under 90. Like in most games, it was above 100. So I really see that people are sleeping on Matthew Stafford, and this guy really deserves a chance. And if you're getting him in the 10th round, heck yeah, I want to take him in the 10th round. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's a great value position to have him at. And, no one's really talking about him this year. But I definitely see him as a sleeper candidate. Nate, how do you feel about that?
No, I think, if he's available, take him. I mean, he's a big sleeper, in my opinion. He's one of the stronger sleepers because, him only playing 6 games last year, due to injury and everything, it's a shame. But, he doesn't disappoint putting up numbers. So, I agree with the point of, the teams he faced, like the Chargers and like the impressive defenses, he still puts up the numbers he does. He's super accurate. He's amazing with that football. So, he's a sleeper, in my opinion, no doubt.
He's got weapons too, and he has DeAndre Swift right now on the receiving back. And let me point out, like the most like fantasy relevant running back for Detroit in the last 10 years has been Theo Riddick, because he caught the ball, and that is what they really need on the Detroit Lions offense. And I think that's just another weapon that he can pass it to if Kenny Golladay or Marvin Jones isn't open. So he's got a lot of weapons this year, and we'll see what he can do. Mike, what do you think about Matthew Stafford?
You didn't think Zach Zenner was a fantasy relevant running back last year?
Not as much as Theo Riddick. I'm just saying, like, out of the last 10 years,
kidding.
Theo Riddick was the biggest guy.
I'm kidding.
You kind of scared me there a little bit. I was kind of worried.
Well, Mike brought the serious sides, and he was like, "Did you know?"
Pretty serious. Like,
he had like a couple of games where he was good. No, you're right. Yeah. He's a sleeper. I agree with you. I think if you get him as your backup, he might become your starter.
That's a very fair point to have. I mean, if he's also like a QB 12 too, he might not be someone's backup. I think someone's going to try to take him as a starter. But if I have him as a backup quarterback, I really like my team where I'm standing.
I mean, if you're patient enough, he's still up there, and no one else is taken. Yeah. I mean, he definitely could be your starter if you don't have a quarterback yet.
It's really all how you play. What about Tyler Johnson?
Ty Johnson.
Oh, listen, there's a lot of fantasy running backs coming from the Detroit Lions that you see in the waiver wire. And you're like, oh, Bose. I don't really know how to pronounce his last name. Do you guys know how to pronounce his last name? It's like Scarborough or something.
Scarborough, yeah.
Yeah, he's usually on the waiver wire.
What happened to Kerryon Johnson? Wasn't he a player at some point?
I mean, right now he's splitting reps with DeAndre Swift, but the guy has just been plagued by injuries. But when he plays, he's a really good running back.
He is.
He just doesn't play most games, which is unfortunate. But, now they have DeAndre Swift, so we'll see what happens. All right, Nate, you're going to give us your third sleeper for the 2020 season.
Of course. So I'm going to go quarterback. And, I know you thought of Matthew Stafford. Definitely I agree with you all the way. I'm going to go Ryan Tannehill. And I will tell you why he's a sleeper. Okay, so even though he had a great last season last year with, the Tennessee Titans, he beat the Patriots, he beat Baltimore. Everyone was like, oh, my God. But, no one's giving him the hype as much as he reminds me of another Matthew Stafford as being slept on as a quarterback in this draft because no one talks about him as much. Now, last year he had 2,742 yards, 6 interceptions, 22 touchdowns. And I mean, he's projected, a lot this year. So this could be, for some people, oh, he's not a sleeper. His stats prove that, he's definitely a quarterback you could take, to be your starter. But, with his projected stats, which are 3,550 yards, 30 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, I mean, the interceptions are a little high for me. But, I think he found himself in a system where he likes and he fits in pretty well. So I think him in Tennessee can make him a validated sleeper, for people who are saying it was just one good season, for the Tennessee Titans.
Now his fantasy ranking right now, position-wise, is QB 18. Right. You listed him as a sleeper. Do you think?
Yes.
And do you think he can move up and position-wise, up there, maybe in the top 10? Or are you thinking maybe a couple spots more?
Probably a couple spots. I'm not going to say he's going to jump, enormously to the top 10. He's going to beat out a few of those other quarterbacks. So, that's why I'm putting him as a sleeper because it's like Ryan Tannehill is kind of like he could be iffy sometimes. So, like again, if you're in that situation where like you need as like a secondary, quarterback that you're switching off and on, and Ryan Tannehill is up there. I mean, you could take him. I mean, I believe he's a sleeper in my true opinion. Of course, there's going to be other quarterbacks that you're going to look at and be like, well, he actually, like Drew Lock, like people might be like, oh, well, even though he's a rookie, he could be a sleeper because, even though he hasn't played it down in the NFL. So, I mean, again, it depends on, your definition of a sleeper. But in my opinion, again, I think Ryan Tannehill is a sleeper. He fits in, Tennessee really well. And I think he'll be good this year.
That's a good choice of words there too. He does fit within the offensive scheme that Vrabel has for him. Mike, how do you feel about Ryan Tannehill?
I'm gonna call you out again and say he's not a sleeper. I think.
Really?
Here's why. I think for quarterbacks, if you want to call one of them a sleeper, you need to believe that they're going to be a top 10 quarterback and they're drafted as not a top 12 starter for someone. Now, if you think that he's going to be top 10, then I'll give you that he's a sleeper. But you said that you didn't think that, so I don't think that you.
Well, I think he'll jump. I think he'll jump a couple spots. I don't know about top 10. That's why I'm declaring him as a sleeper, because you think about it when you said the guy, if he has like over like a running back like over 700 yards. Is he really projected to be a sleeper? Now I know it's different positions, but like Ryan Tannehill, he showed that he could be off and on here and there, and he's fitting in with the system. So, I mean, there is a strong possibility he could be a top 10 quarterback, but I don't want to take that giant leap. Though I still want to call him a sleeper.
Okay, we'll call him a silent sleeper. And I'm not really sure.
He's a napper. He's a napper.
Okay, there we go. Napper.
Okay, that makes sense.
Categorize Ryan Tannehill. Because you guys have different. I honestly thought in the beginning Mike was just saying like you're getting the definition wrong, but now I understand what he's saying. Like he's not really going to be a sleeper.
Well, sleeper means different things for different positions. I think like running back. I said what I said about that, but then also with quarterback, I think sleeper is an entirely different thing. All quarterbacks, are going to put up stats. They're going to put up a lot of numbers pretty consistently. So if you're going to call a quarterback a sleeper, then you are believing that he has the potential to set the world on fire.
Mm-hmm. That's understandable. Mike, what is your third sleeper for the 2020 season?
Okay, I'm going deep. Sleeper. This is like Inception level sleep.
All right, give it to me.
Deep. Bryce Love of the Washington football team. His last year at Stanford, he had over 2,000 yards rushing. He got injured. If he didn't get injured, he'd be a first-round pick. He is in a very crowded backfield with names that you will recognize, like Peyton Barber, who was in a tandem with the Buccaneers, J.D. McKissick, Adrian Peterson, the best running back in the league. So I think, and then Antonio Gibson. So there's a crowded backfield there, but I mean, they drafted this guy for a reason. This guy was a Heisman candidate. I can't see his career doing nothing in the NFL. And they have they don't commit to Adrian Peterson as their starter. Peyton Barber, not exciting. JD McKissic isn't gonna third down back. Antonio Gibson. I
don't even think he's fantasy relevant, to be honest.
Antonio Gibson, I don't know. So this is very, very deep sleeper. If you're in like a 16 team league, then I would say give Bryce Love a chance as your last pick.
And changing not even from like a redraft, I would honestly pick him up in Dynasty for sure, because I think that Bryce Love and Antonio Gibson are the future of running backs on the Washington football team. And they're also trying to get in reps for Antonio Gibson at the wide receiver position.
Right, yeah, they are. Yeah, I saw that.
Put Bryce Love at, more carries in the backfield with Adrian Peterson. They don't want to really use them that much, Adrian Peterson. So honestly, it could happen. And then if it does happen, this guy is explosive. And I really think the Washington football team should try to put him in the backfield and see what he can do. Nate, what do you think about it? They could.
I mean, he went deep. He wasn't lying when he said he's going deep on this one. He was going deep on this one. Yeah, he went really deep.
It's a dream within a dream.
I mean, again, Dynasty. I mean, if we're talking like different leagues, I mean, Dynasty. It's a comfortable pickup. No doubt. So I mean, it's a comfortable pick. I mean, again, his definition of sleeper is totally different from mine, but it's understandable.
Your guys are nappers. They're not sleepers. They're nappers.
They're nappers. Okay, they'll wake up. Yeah, this is definitely a sleeper. Behind the two other running backs, like you said, you got the best running back in the league still, Adrian Peterson. So Bryce Love, he's going to be learning. He's going to learn. He's definitely going to learn under these running backs. So, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to end it with my last sleeper. We talked about him a little bit last episode just on the news. Allen Lazard. Wide receiver 2 for the Green Bay Packers. His ADP is like way out there, like 189. But listen, the Packers have the second easiest schedule for wide receivers. They're facing the NFC South. NFC South really doesn't have that many good cornerbacks right now. This guy didn't have that many targets, but at the end of the season, he made his way up the depth chart and he started getting targets, and he had about 20 targets in his last 2 games. Now, this was before the pandemic, but Aaron Rodgers says that last year that he really likes how Lazard is working and becoming a strong wide receiver for him. And I want to point out a stat that he was wide receiver 26 last year in separation on his targets. So we have Aaron Rodgers, who's a great quarterback and has great football IQ. If he sees a man open, he's going to pass it to him. And if this guy can separate, and he's at the top 25 in separation, and he's big and physical, he's very capable to be a dominant receiver. Just from his ADP, though, I really see him as a sleeper, and he is honestly a guy that you can take 2 to 3 rounds, up in the draft from where he's listed at. And it's just the volume that he can get a wide receiver too. He has a lot of targets that he can get. And I just think he's going in the same kind of path that Davante Adams had, because I don't know if you guys remember, but Davante Adams did not get off to a good start. And, Aaron Rodgers really had to help him and build his confidence. And I think that's the same thing he's trying to do with Allen Lazard.
Yeah, but Adams was a second round pick, third round pick. He
was like a 7th. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I agree with you. I think I like that a lot, actually. I mean, the guy's enormous. He's fast. Aaron Rodgers likes him. Like the pieces are all in order for him to have a good year.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like you said, the pieces are in order. Right. Like, I don't know if I would have picked him if Devin Funchess didn't opt out, to be honest with you. It's just that he's getting that wide receiver 2 role that really makes me want to hit on him. Nate, how do you feel about him?
I mean, 477 yards last season, 3 touchdowns. That's only going to go up. I mean, his projection, his projected stats, with 715, receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. I think he'll get more touchdowns this year than 4. I think it'll be between 5 or 6. I think they'll get him in the mix. They really want that number 2 receiver spot to be, locked down for them. So, I mean, between Funches, Davante Adams, they could have a good wide receiving year. I think that entire, wide receiving squad for the Packers could be, overlooked. I don't think people are looking at them as like, the top. I know they have something to prove, definitely, but Lazard can definitely be something for the Packers.
The Packers wide receiver core was like a waiver wire disaster last season for me.
Yes.
There's just so many of them lined up on the waiver wire. I'm like, who do I pick right now? All right, guys. We're getting to the fantasy Q&A. I came up with these questions, so I'm excited. I want to see what you guys are going to give me, all right? We got some good questions lined up. And we might have potentially answered this question earlier, but my first question is, what quarterback out of the top 12 projected do you believe can finish top 12 for this year in fantasy football? Mike, you are going to start.
Wait, your question is what quarterback outside of
the top 12 do you think is going to be like the projected top 12 do you think is going to be in the top 12 for this 2020 season?
Well,
I can give you some options too. I have the rankings.
I mean, give me some options because I feel like I see Aaron Rodgers outside of the top 12.
He is. Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Big Ben, Cam Newton, Jared Goff, Ryan Tannehill, Baker, Joe Burrow.
All right, well here, I'll give you Ben Roethlisberger. I think that he is ready to prove something. I don't know if this is last year. Maybe it's not. Maybe he keeps going. But I really think Ben Roethlisberger is going to prove to a lot of people that the Steelers are for real. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I don't. But their defense is so good that they're not going to have to score a lot. So, but he has some decent talent at wide receiver. Didn't they get Eric Ebron too? They have some pass catching running backs. So it's all setting up for him. What do you ask to be in the top 12? Yeah, he could sneak in there. Yeah, he could sneak in there.
Potentially. He needs his touchdowns, and he does have the weapons, Deontay Johnson, Washington, Juju, Anthony McFarland. He's given everything. Chase Claypool. I can't believe I forgot about him, too. Their new rookie that they added. So,
they have a nice department there in their skill position department.
They do. They really do. Nate, now, you basically kind of said this with Tannehill. He's outside of the top 12.
Yeah, he is. He is.
In the top 12.
Yeah, I would. Why wouldn't you? I mean, I'm taking him. I'm gonna, because Mike will be like, "But didn't you just say?" So I'm gonna go with Tannehill. Yeah, the finger wiggle is gonna come out soon. So yeah, I think Tannehill could definitely be top 12. So again with he has a good team. I mean, AJ Brown, I think he'll be good this year. I do. I'm not going to say he's not going to be a good wide receiver for them. I think he'll be really good, for Tannehill. I think they're going to find their vibe again, and they're hungry because they were so close. They were so close to getting to that. They were so close. So, as much as I just said already, about Tannehill, his projected stats, I see them. I don't think he's going to get that many interceptions. I think he can balance that. But, with Tannehill, you'll never know. But I think top 12 is, very realistic for Ryan Tannehill.
All right. So we got Ryan Tannehill and Big Ben. All right. My second question is a trade question. In a PPR league, a guy's offering you a trade. He will give you Jonathan Taylor if you give up Kareem Hunt and Jamison Crowder. Will you take it? We're going to start off with Nate.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I was looking at between all their stats and then, the projection stat for each of these players, and Jamison Crowder, for the Jets, he's sitting behind, Le'Veon Bell. So I feel a lot more comfortable with
he is a wide receiver though, so I mean I don't even think he'd be
true. Right,
but
right. No,
he is wide receiver 1 for the Jets, and they really don't have many viable wide receiver options. So
they don't. And Kareem Hunt, sit behind. Obviously, he's not going to be starting in front of Nick Chubb because they're going to let Nick Chubb to get most of the handoffs. So I would feel more comfortable having Jonathan Taylor. I know, the Colts have Marlon Mack, and they want him to produce the way they drafted him. They want him to get back into that form. But there's a reason why they took Jonathan Taylor. There's a reason why they want him to be, so between Marlon, Marlon might get the start, obviously, this year because he's already a proven NFL running back. But, Marlon is going to have a chip on his shoulder, especially with Jonathan Taylor right behind him. So I would take Jonathan Taylor over Kareem Hunt, Jamison Crowder.
All right, so you would definitely accept that trade. I just want to point out, I got a notification on my phone from Colts camp. They said that Jonathan Taylor's literally running over people right now on the Colts defense.
Take him.
He's a freight train right now.
He is actually insane. Like, if you watch his highlight reels, he is insane. He will plant his foot in your chest and run you over and keep going, and he won't care. He is insane. When he gets the ball, he's gonna give Marlon Mack, some competition, some competition.
What week is he going to get those starting reps? And that's something you got to pay attention to. And I'm just giving you guys this trade option. But what if this is like during the middle of the season, and and Jonathan Taylor's still splitting reps, so this could be like a pretty interesting trade. Mike, how do you feel about him?
I'm very conflicted with this because
I thought you said you'd take him.
No, because I did read something the other day that said Mac is going to be the established starter. Right. Jonathan Taylor is a freak of nature, though. He's amazing. And then the other complicated part of this is I like Jamison Crowder a lot, but I hate Kareem Hunt. I think he, you could tell he's had many off the field incidents, and in this time I wouldn't trust him to not mess up. But it's so imperative for everyone to be on their game in terms of off the field this year. I don't trust Kareem Hunt. I wouldn't take him, just like other guys with off the field concerns.
So down to like the conclusion. So if you had Kareem Hunt and Jamison Crowder on your team,
I wouldn't have Kareem Hunt. Trade? I wouldn't be in that situation, but I would if it were
if he was already on your team. Would you accept it to take
He's not even on my hypothetical team. But if it were just Jamison Crowder versus Jonathan Taylor, I would still think about it, and it would really depend on my depth at other decision. But it's not a no-brainer. I would probably say no if I didn't have a lot of other wide receivers. If Jamison Crowder is my fourth receiver, then I probably would take the risk that Jonathan Taylor is going to explode. But if he's my third wide receiver, I'm keeping him.
Okay. That's understandable. It's like you said, it's really hard to see because you don't know who else is on your team. All right, guys, third question. Would you be more comfortable having Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield as your QB1 on your fantasy team this year? Mike, start.
Oh, good question.
That's a very good question.
Oh, man. On one hand, I've got Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb. I've got David Njoku. I've got Austin Hooper.
He skips him.
I mean, the weapons.
He doesn't exist in Mike's world. He does not exist.
It doesn't exist. The weapons are insane for Baker Mayfield.
They are.
And then on the other hand, I mean, Joe Burrow's got some weapons. He's the first overall pick. I like his moxie. I feel like, I'm going with Joe Burrow. I want the unknown.
Oh, wow.
I want door number two. I know what door number one is, but I want the shiny object that I don't know what it is behind door number two. So I'm going for that. I'm taking.
He's gonna peek the door open. Is that gold?
But only. I mean, not only, but mostly because Alec is not.
Oh, I believe he just cut out. But I'm assuming since he said Alec is not here.
Well, look how his finger is frozen. He knew what he was talking about. He knew what he was talking about.
Because Alec is not here, that maybe he wants to support the Bengals offense. Nate,
right.
Who are you going to pick, Burrow or Baker?
Right, yeah. I mean, you really can't go wrong with both because Joe Burrow is gritty, and he's ready. He's excited, despite, all this news about injury with the Bengals offense.
So, Nate, all right, we'll let Nate finish, and then we'll get back to you.
Right. Yeah, so I was actually complimenting what you were saying, Mike. I mean, there really is no wrong choice because you already have a proven NFL.
Choice. There could be a wrong choice. Whoever has lower fantasy points at the end of the year.
Yes, that is a wrong choice. But if you're there's only one. But I mean, if you look at it, you would obviously go for Baker because he just listed off all of his weapons, and we're really hoping Baker, can step it up a little bit this year. And that offense, I know they have like coaching issues and some, management issues that are going on, with that organization. But Joe Burrow is locked and loaded, and he's excited to get on that field, and he's excited to prove a lot of people. So I'm gonna take Joe Burrow. I'm going to be excited about it. I think Joe Burrow can definitely show something. If Baker Mayfield he's had a lot of maturity issues, and I feel like that's a lot of what the Cleveland quarterback system has been lately, with maturity issues. He's definitely Johnny Manziel's a totally different story, but he's young. I think Baker is definitely going to mature. I feel like he's going to have a good season, but I like the exciting pick. I like taking risks. I said that before, and I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. I mean, he's just exciting. Now he's an exciting player to watch. Mike, he's an exciting player to watch.
Well, I mean, you said you like taking risks, but your sleepers were nappers, so you're really contradicting yourself.
Michael, what were you going to say before you got cut out there?
I said Alec is not here to talk about his boy, so that was another factor that I, considered there.
So both you guys want the shiny new object that you're going to
Door number 2. Door number 2.
All right, guys, we're going to get to my fourth question. Which fantasy player of your choice do you believe will have a positive touchdown regression this season compared to last season? We will start off. Mike, I can explain it if you need me to.
A positive regression.
Yes, it exists in the fantasy football world. That means if they had a low touchdown ratio, them getting back to their average touchdown that they had in their previous seasons.
A positive.
Yes, I was. Yes, at the beginning, I had to think about it.
What does that even mean?
Mike, I was sitting there for like 5 minutes. I was like, a positive regression. So they do good, but the numbers are low. But no, I understand what he's saying. It took me a minute. It wasn't clicking with me.
It does exist. So yes, a positive touchdown regression. Nate, who do you think will have more touchdowns? Let's just go more touchdowns this season from last season.
Okay.
A bounce back year. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, even though it does exist, Mike. You can look it up after the show. But
sure,
yes,
but does it essentially mean a bounce back?
Pretty much.
A return to
in a different term.
Yeah,
so
a return to form.
Yeah. So I'm picking Chris Godwin. I'm doing Chris Godwin. I think he will have actually.
You think he'll have more touchdowns? From
Chris Godwin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel confident in Chris Godwin.
Do you have his statistics on how many touchdowns he had last season?
Yeah, actually I do. It's actually hiding right here. So last season he had 9 touchdowns, right?
Okay.
So I do. I think he'll get more touchdowns. Why? Right. He's Tom Brady right there. Tom Brady's right there.
What did he have the year before? Like, did he have more than 9 touchdowns? Is this
No, he did not. He had.
All right, so this isn't a true positive regression.
No,
I mean, you can. I mean, you're. No, listen.
Up, so bounce back.
No, so right. I mean. Oh, man. Okay, I think I looked at this wrong. I think I looked at this and I was like looking at his last stats. I was like, 7 touchdowns. He went up to 9. He's going to go more with Tom Brady. Okay. So I got excited with the Chris Godwin set.
All right. So you predict the 9, like 10, 11 touchdowns.
Right.
That is, definitely possible. Brady. Mike.
Yes.
Who's your, road all the way up? How many touchdowns are going to get this season compared to last season? Who do you got?
All right. So. I'm going to go Emmanuel Sanders. He was on the 49ers. I think the Saints signed him because he will, a veteran receiver who will take advantage of the coverage dictated towards Michael Thomas. So I really think that Emmanuel Sanders will have a positive regression, return to form, bounce back, whatever you want to call it. He'll have more stats than he did last year. Bouncing back to what he did the year before last year, which is, I believe, what you are talking about with a positive regression.
Yes.
So I can't be wrong. I can't be wrong for picking Chris Godwin. So it's
wait, no, but you can be because you It's like if someone had a worse year last year, but Chris Godwin obviously like exploded last year and had his best year, so he would.
Right.
I don't know what the opposite of a positive regression is. A regular regression.
I definitely took that question. And reversed, and it was like.
Okay. I will never
these numbers
ever again. I'm just gonna say who you think is gonna get more touchdowns this season. I will never use it again.
Bounce back. Just say bounce back. I don't know what positive regression. Back. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I definitely took that positive regression.
Term? Is that like a stock term? Is that a stock term? Or
no,
something?
It's not a stock term. I see it in fantasy football relevance. Okay, you look up articles. They use that word. I'm not trying to
stock term.
You guys. It is. It's a statistics term. So it's used a lot. I can't even say that word. So.
Wait, but you aren't you like a business major or something?
I am, and it isn't.
Okay, yeah. So that's why we're not business majors. We don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, but it is used in fantasy football. So I apologize. I will not use that term again.
You don't have to apologize. You're obviously right.
I'm not going to use it because Chris Godwin getting more touchdowns from what I've seen. That's
right. Yeah, I thought about a positive
words.
Right, I definitely would not have chosen Chris Godwin because I looked at his numbers. I was like, he didn't have a bad year last year, so I was thinking more of like who's going to have a better year as wide receiver. So I literally went through. I was like, well, why not him? So, but yeah, positive regression.
I like Emmanuel Sanders. Having Drew Brees throw the ball, but he probably would. So that's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Aces podcast. I'm sorry we couldn't get to our last topic. Listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook Live at the Fantasy Aces podcast. Also follow us on Insta, Inside the Hashes, and our Twitter handle, Inside Hashes. And make sure to check out our other podcasts like RPO and Air It Out. Thanks to our viewers listening in, and we will see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. It's going to be a good one. Pretty sure we're going to be doing another mock draft, so we'll see what's in store for us for next week. We appreciate you listening in, and stay safe out there.
Bye.